Welcome everybody to Friday Night Smackdown, brother. I don't know why I did a Hulk Hogan impression there, but I felt that'd be funny. We are on the Go Home show. This is the last show before SummerSlam 2013. It's still crazy to think I'm more than a year in the save when most of my saves barely last 3 months. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, in this episode, so I'm going to be honest with you. I normally don't like to spoil things, but this episode is about to, I wouldn't say jump the shark, because like real talk, like with series like this, and no one's really mentioned it, but this is pretty much like I've booked how I would like WWE. I know that's not everyone's style, like that's not how everyone would want it to be, but basically, like this is kind of the, and I'm definitely doing, I've promised it before, but I'm doing like a very like thought kind of podcasty-esque like short after SummerSlam about like, you know, just reflecting on the series so far, especially with like pre-booking like in terms of like before the YouTube series and then kind of like building up to that. This is like the WWE I would want, with like real serious storytelling, good wrestling, and then humor thrown in there for the sake of it. And we're about to have that humor aspect. We're not gonna jump a shark. We're gonna eat the fucking shark. We're gonna put a spell on the shark and kill it. So basically, and this is kind of like, and I'll talk about this more, but just a fair warning, brace yourselves, because the SmackDown is going to be pretty awesome, in my opinion. At least, I don't care what the game rates. The game could give it the shittiest rating. I don't care. It's going to be great. So we open up SmackDown with AJ Lee and Madison Rayne, and basically the whole gist of this segment is AJ Lee comes out, and she brings up what Madison Rayne said about her, in the previous weeks, kind of like the whole "you never beat me" kind of saga, and she goes, despite what everyone thinks, I don't respect a lot of people, but I do have to respect you, Madison, for one thing. Is that, Layla was a good champion. She was at the start of the series. That's who Madison Rayne beats. But you really did take this division to new heights. Without that cement, I didn't like how you did it. There was a lot of flash, a lot of pageantry, not, Attitude Era doings, no bra and panties matches, but, she respects that. She respects that she took that title to a height that had not been seen since. But every now and then, the person, that king on that throne, that queen in this case, Waka Waka Charlotte, is pushed out. They're pushed to the side. They're no longer the head. And AJ Lee says that she is now the division head. She is the reason this title is the way it is today. Make no mistake about it. There's no denying it. So at SummerSlam, it's not going to be a trading of, the trading of the hat. I'm not going to rectify any mistakes. She's just going to put rumors to rest and show the world that she is the number one women's wrestler on the planet at that moment, right then and then. And then Madison Rayne's there because Madison Rayne. So, I've saved the written promos till the end. That's also, I think, I should preference that. So some of these are going to be kind of like, like that. So in a decent squash match, we have Ryback defeats Alexander Rusev in about 5 minutes with suplex power slam. Ryback getting a 94. They have good chemistry, apparently. There wasn't a lot of selling, two big men. No improvements, however. And we have, dang it, I forgot everyone else. Sorry. There's supposed to be, like, Steph and Triple H there. But basically, and John Cena is supposed to be off screen. Dang it, I really messed up this. So we see kind of like the aftermath, like Shawn Michaels, the SmackDown GM is watching, the Ryback squash. He's going to be defending his Intercontinental Championship on the kickoff show for SmackDown, the pre-show. And Vince McMahon is there, and he's in his outfit, he's in his ass-kicking gear, he's ready for that Titan Towers brawl, and basically, I'm just gonna pretend like they're all there. Steph, Triple H, Michaels, they just plead, they're like, Vince, don't do this, don't don't go. First off, don't get in the ring with Cena, because Cena's madman. You're not sure what he's doing. He could literally get a gun and shoot the motherfucker. We don't know. But Vince is like, nope, not only do I have to be in the ring with him tonight to close the show off, but I have to. I absolutely need to be there. I need to have this match. I need to prove to the world that I can do it. So, Vince McMahon showing kinds of shade of a baby face, but not really, because he's still Vince McMahon. He's an evil man. He's trying to... all the smarks are probably losing their mind at him, the idea of him holding the World Heavyweight Championship, the old ECW belt. And basically in this segment, we have Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Dolph Ziggler is out first. He calls Drew McIntyre out. It's, your generic standard show-off. And Dolph Ziggler, he challenges Drew to a match at SummerSlam. But he prefaces by saying, Dolph is he's just concerned with Drew. He's concerned with the things he says because he doesn't believe that Drew thinks... Dolph doesn't think Drew actually believes Dolph isn't ready. Drew's been talking about Dolph isn't ready for this. He wasn't ready for the main event, And, he knows that history's shown otherwise. He pretty much got buried by John Cena at Extreme Rules. He failed to recapture the championship. He failed to capture it on Smackdown. But only one of those times really was failure. Dolph says, he goes, for all the failure that I've had in these past couple of months, from winning the Royal Rumble, I managed to get a hold of the World Heavyweight Championship. Of those times, there was somebody there ruining my shots. And that's you, Drew. You were in the triple threat that I wasn't able to get that win. It was you who cost me the match on SmackDown that one time. I believe that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that would be 2 weeks ago now, in the first week of August. You are the reason that I fail. Not me. You. So at SummerSlam, I'm going to simply put all my failures to rest. Once I beat you 1, 2, 3, there's going to be a high... There's, the sky's the limit for Dolph Ziggler. And Drew McIntyre really doesn't say anything, kind of that stoic, Sinister Scotsman. I really like when Drew's kind of Drew's a good promo. I like Drew's promos, but I do kind of like when he's just kind of that silent badass type. That's pretty much, that segment. And then we have a standard triple threat, just basic, have a match to have a match. Sin Cara defeats Trent Beretta and Frankie Kazarian. When Sin Cara manages to hit Trent Beretta with the La Mystica, he carried the match quality. He was an 81. Frankie Kazarian with a 71. And Trent Beretta with a 66. Trent Beretta usually does pretty better. Either he's fallen off the scope a little bit, or, he just happened to have an off night. And about to have good heat and decent wrestling, Jack Swagger managed to defeat Sting with submission with an ankle lock after interference from Sheamus. So, Jack Swagger, pretty big win. Jack Swagger, I feel kind of bad. He's kind of fallen off the ceiling of this kind of series. I've never been too into Jack Swagger, but I know he kind of deserves a little bit better. But, he manages to be able to get he manages to get that win. Despite, Sheamus helped him get it. But still, that's a pretty big win over a legend like Sting. So, yeah, good for Jack Swagger. And he's still being managed by Vicky Guerrero for some reason. Haven't used. So, I can't remember if this match is next or not. But we'll be seeing Zack Ryder take on Sheamus. Let's see if that match is next. And about heat, they had great heat and good wrestling. Zack Ryder pulls off the upset with the Zack attack. Because some weird shit's starting to go down. During the course of the match, just from the segment, the lights are flickering, so that distracts Sheamus. And then, these weird, visions start showing up in Sheamus. It looks like Swagger, it looks like Del Rio attacking Sheamus. We can't confirm or deny because the lights keep going out. But it's enough for Zack to pull up the win with the Zack attack. I can't remember what the Zack attack is. I know the Rough Rider, but... I forget what the Zack attack was. I don't think he's done it a lot. That, or I'm just stupid and I'm forgetting it. But Zack Ryder continuing his momentum from being off that injury, and he beats Sheamus, Mr. Money in the Bank, just after, he had helped Sting win, so whatever's, haunting Sheamus is still going on, apparently. Now this is good. So basically, John Cena. We cut back. John Cena's in the ring, or he comes to the ring. He's got his World Heavyweight Championship. He's got the hoodie. He's got the stare. The very heelish Cena. And all of a sudden, No Chance in Hell plays, and the 21,000 in the Staples Center lose their shit. Vince McMahon, he's power walking to the ring. He doesn't give a shit. He's going right up to Cena, and he has a microphone. And they stare for a little bit, let the crowd. It's like Andre and Hogan, except not Andre and Hogan. So he picks up the mic and he says, John, before the match on Sunday, before we tear each other to pieces like rabid animals, I just wanted to tell you something from the bottom of my heart. I hate you, John. John, do you know how much money I made off of you? Millions. Literally millions. But looking back at what you were, this bright t-shirt wearing clown of a wrestler, this howdy doody looking moron moving around the ring like some kind of asshole, some kind of absolute tool, because let's be honest with ourselves, he looks like a tool in like the green and the purple shirts. I realized something. The fans the smarks that would always yell at me about pushing, the Super Cena, they were right. I should have done so much more for you. We could have made billions if the Cena experiment was truly the success that I had visioned it to be. At the end of the day, though, maybe it just never was meant to be. I mean, look at the roster on Smackdown alone right now. I don't need one guy. Hell, I practically have all the guys now. I've bought out so much indie talent, the scene's dead pretty much. What I'm saying about that is, as emotional as I just was, never forget that I second that once I beat you at Titan Towers, right in front of the board of directors, right in front of the millions and millions of worldwide watching, you'll realize that something that many people that cross paths with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, you'll realize the same thing that Vern Gagne, Jim Crockett, Eric Bischoff, Ted Turner, Paul Heyman, John, they all realized that there is no competing with Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You're expendable. This is my world. Pro wrestling is mine. I decide what dies. I decide what lives. I decide who's paid. I decide who goes unemployed. I decide when to stop the charade that you're putting yourself through, John. And those men I mentioned, they were far greater threats than you ever hoped to be seen as, John. But even they were insignificant little shits standing in my almighty shadow. I don't need to make this a career match for you, John. Because everyone knows once I win, your job, it's done. You truly will stand no chance in hell. And the crowd probably is like, I don't know, Michael Cole probably has shit his pants. Booker T has probably done the shucky ducky spinneroonie quack quack, whatever the fuck what that gimmick was. God, do you remember that on the kickoff shows? Again, this is why I'm doing this era, the PG era. That was the mark. I didn't know it, but it appears, very strong words from Vince McMahon ahead of their Titan Towers brawl at SummerSlam, the main event of SummerSlam. But Raw's not done. I mean, SmackDown's not done. I botched the ending. Can't believe I botched the all-important ending. McMahon leaves the ring, and John Cena is just staring, blank expression on his phone. Boom! Sheamus right from behind. Mr. Money in the Bank. It looks like Sheamus is cashing in. He's got the Money in the Bank. He's got a referee. He pulled a referee with him. McMahon turns around. He's confused. This wasn't like, oh, plan B. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, maybe we'll do that down the line. But Sheamus, he goes to hand the briefcase to a referee. He's cashing in. He's winning the World Heavyweight Championship. What does this mean? But all of a sudden, the briefcase, it just starts floating in midair. It literally slowly moves. It's clearly like fishing line, like pretty much how shitty movies used to do. And we don't know why. There's just confusion. I think it's Charles Robinson probably would be, because I love Little Nate. Little Nate is like, what in the fuck is going on? And Sheamus is just, he looks like someone has just came up in the scariest Halloween costume. Everyone is just confused at this point. Vince is gone. Vince is like, I don't need this shit. Suddenly, though, the lights in the arena, they shut off completely. And all you hear is a loud voice. So it's WCW Oz, like the footage of Oz from WCW, the debut was supposed to be here. But WWE kept fucking copywriting it, so I'm not gonna deal with that. So yeah, it's Oz. So that's why I'm gonna mark out for Oz, because the whole footage was supposed to play. I tried editing it and shit, but nah, fuck it. So yeah, fuck WWE. That's right, motherfuckers. Oz is back. The crowd goes nuclear as the long-forgotten alter ego of Kevin Nash makes his way to the ring, seemingly floating his way to the ring. It's clear, like Andre the Giant, like the old school, how they used to get, like, through WrestleMania, like the carts, like the little tracks. It's that. Holy shit, chants are deafening. There's probably a "This is awesome." The Smarks are going ape shit. Somewhere there, like, Scott Hall's like, I need a beard, although don't have a beer, Scott. That's very bad. Sheamus just runs as soon as he, like, gets close enough, as the great and powerful Oz stands over the chaos. The fans in the Staples Center nearly dying from excitement. He lifts up his hands. He shoots like fake fire in the air. It's green for some reason. It's so cheesy and awful. Smackdown goes off the air, and what most likely will go down as the greatest ending of the series for SmackDown. Kevin Nash is dead, but Oz lives on. You thought I was kidding about that warning at the end of the show, didn't you? In 93, come on, we had like a bunch of good rated segments. We didn't have really storytelling, like matches or anything like that, so I figured they would get like kind of like in terms of the ratings wise. But I've never been more happy with such a like a go home show, or this is probably my favorite episode of the series right now. You have no idea, like I'll talk about it later, but you guys have no idea how long I've been planning for the Oz reveal. Like, this wasn't just at Cyber Sunday. I kind of had some hints at Cyber Sunday, but, like, this has been going on since, like, even before the YouTube stuff started, because it was, like, as a joke, and then once I decided to go YouTube, I was like, oh my god, this is what needs to happen. So there's your comedy segment of the show. I hope everyone had a good time. But even after that, we still have the great night of SummerSlam to get to. I can't wait. And I hope you guys are all excited. I will see you there for SummerSlam 2013.